Hey, this is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, where you can check out my Anatomy 2.0 course. And that's what I'm commenting here on for a student. So basically, every now and again, I will take some students' work, some stuff that they've turned in, and then I will offer some commentary on it. That way they could get an idea of what they're doing right or wrong. The first thing I noticed is their head here is too small. So with this basic grid here, you have 3 lines, 3 segments here, and those 3 segments is about the length of a head. And so you want to make sure to get that right. Right, so basically they just need to make the head wider. So this is going to be the back of the head here. I need to come all the way out like this here. And like so. And actually we're going to make it more up and down. So let's go ahead and fix that. Also, I'm going to turn down these layers so I can draw on top of them easier. So you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to take the back of the head here, and we want it to kind of come in behind this line right here, like this, and then come to the top here. Right, so I like to kind of sometimes just kind of draw like a circle, square type thing. And then the head is right in front of that line here. We're going to kind of draw a line almost straight down like this. That's more the shape we're looking for. Like that. And the ear and the jaw is actually not going to come back to this center line, almost to it. Like the ear will kind of start right before that, more about here. And the jaw will kind of come down like this. Okay, so that's the basic idea of the head. And the neck is going to kind of come in like this and then come out like that and kind of be hidden by the shoulder here. The shoulders are quite large. You want to make sure you're accounting for the shoulder here, the deltoid, and we can kind of do this kind of round shape like this, and it kind of is going to come to this part here where the skin is, and you can kind of imagine the deltoid being like that. Now this here is too far down. The collarbone's not nearly that big, so we're going to draw the neck kind of coming down like this, and then kind of coming down like this. So that's about where we want the neck at. Let's draw this muscle right here. It connects right here behind the ear like this. And that's the sternocleidomastoid. So it kind of comes behind the ear, kind of comes over here, connects to the front of the, like right, that little notch right there where your 2 collarbones are. And so I teach all this anatomy course. So you want to come to right about there. That's about how far you want to go. You don't want to go too far. This collarbone right here that comes from there to here, from the shoulder, from the chest, from the side view is only about that long. It's pretty short. And then you're going to come almost straight down right here. And you only want to go down about halfway between here and here. And then you're going to start curving to make up for the breast here like this. We're going to start curving toward here. That's where the nipple is going to be. And then we're going to kind of come down a little bit further than this. Like that. You kind of mention this oval shape right here. Like that. And then the fat tissue is going to come up like this, and it's going to connect here underneath the arm. That's where the muscle actually comes underneath there. Everything else is pretty good. I would come back a little bit further for this though. Like this. You want to really emphasize this kind of bend here. And then it's going to come, that's where your ribs, imagine them kind of coming down like this. You have your line here. That's not far enough down. We want to come almost all the way down to this halfway line here. This line, not halfway line, but the line above the halfway line. Then it kind of comes up at a steep angle like this. Boom. That's how we want it to be. We're going to have that part of this part of the rib cage right here sticking out. We can see still some of that, the breast. And the more the older a person gets, the more the breast starts hanging down, the less perky it'll be. And it's going to start coming down and hang more. So it'll cover more of the rib cage. All right, so I'm just want to just lightly put that in there just so you can see it. But we're going to come like that. That's where the rib cage is going to be like this. And then we're going to pull out and make the buttocks kind of come out. So we want to come curve in like that. Now we're going to the love handle part. So all this right here is going to be like part of like your kind of love handle and hips right here. So I kind of imagine that shape. I like to, from the side view, I kind of like to imagine this shape right here. We're going to come here, make the buttocks. I'm going to come up a little bit higher like this. All right, so we can give her a bigger bum. We don't have to come out that far though. And then the leg, you don't want to come all the way out to the line, just almost out to that line if you want like that kind of more perfect shape. So you want to come up with this part here. This is going to come up almost all the way up here like that. A little angle like that. And then we're going to come almost out to this line, but not quite. Come down like this. And then the knee is actually going to fit above this line. And I don't know if you have that understanding. You have the understanding here, so how you did the knee bones here. But remember, those are the knee bones. Right, so this is the bottom part of the tibia that we've learned. And this top part here is a part of the fibula. Right, and together that makes up the knee. So you got to think about the knee being there. Actually, that both of those would be up a little bit higher. So the knee actually starts above this line. Right, so the knee should be more like right about here. Like that. That's going to be the knee. Right, you're going to have the fibula part and then the tibia part down here. Not fibula, sorry. The femoris. I don't know why I said fibula. Fibula is the other side of the lower leg. Right, but we mostly just say tibia and femur. So you have the femur bone, which kind of pulls out here toward us, and then it kind of comes down like this, connects here. And then you have the tibia, and we'll also see part of the fibula. But anyway, just know that's what's making up the knee. I teach all this anatomy course in detail. Boom, like that. Then you have the back pad, right? So you got to make that back. A lot of it's going to be actually fat tissue, but it kind of has a curve to it. But anyway, we're going to come down with the thigh here and kind of curve it like this, and then we can kind of curve into this calf muscle here and come down. And you can make it more stylized if you want, or more muscular. So we can kind of come like this and down. I like to come all the way down into the foot because that's going to be like where the ankle is. So I usually just draw that line coming all the way down to the foot, which you did. And then we're going to draw this line coming up here like that, and then make sure the heel is coming back. And I think you did this shape fine, like this. You might be able to see a slight bit of the angle here, right where the toes are going to be in the big toe, and come down at the foot like that, and then come out. Might be able to see a little bit of that big toe behind this right here. The hand's a little bit small, so remember your hand, if you put your hand to your face, if you ever forget, and it's easy to make these kinds of mistakes, but just to kind of to try to get used to what size the hand ought to be, think about your hand and put your hand up to your face, right? So typically your palm, if it rests on the bottom of your chin, your fingers are going to extend to like your eyebrows or a little bit there. So from about here, I don't know if you can see that, about here to about here. That's to be the size of the hand, right? So if you think about that size of your hand, and that'd be the halfway dividing point, you got to have that same size coming down here, right? And you'd have the part where your thumb sticks off. So that's about the size of the hand. I'll go ahead and delete some of this here. So just getting used to these sizes, you'll start to get the feel of it. And sometimes it's hard to see, the mistakes you might be making at first. And so I'm going to go back to my pencil now. Just want to make sure all that was there. I might even actually come out a little bit further than that, kind of mess that up with the red. Okay. So I'm just looking to see anything else we can fix here. This is about right. So from the side view, the leg here is kind of blocking where the crotch comes. Remember, the crotch comes all the way down to this halfway line. So it starts from here, but we don't see it until obviously here. You're going to have part of this belly that kind of sticks out here a little bit, not too much, just a little bit like that. And that's the lower part of the belly, and then it kind of comes in like that. So it has that kind of curve to it, which you pretty much got right. So just really emphasize this right here, really can pull that curve right there. Just looking over it, see if there's anything else I can see that kind of stands out. Right, so with the male, same thing. We want to make the head come out. Try to imagine that like circle. I always like to kind of just draw a circle first. And then you can, from that circle, draw almost a straight line down like this. That's going to be the end of the edge of the face. And this halfway line, a little bit less than that, but pretty close to that. Sometimes you can go all the way to the halfway line. That's going to be like the jaw there. You have like the ear. Actually, I'm going to make the ear. This is a male head, so I'm going to make it a little bit back further like this. Every face is a little different. So that's the shape of the head that you want here. And remember, this curves in and then comes out like that for the neck. Men typically have a little bit thicker of a neck, so we can actually come here like that. You have that muscle right there, the sternomastoid. I like to just call it the sternomastoid instead of the sternocleidomastoid. So it's a little easier to say. And everyone knows what it is if you say it that way. Right, we have the deltoid here. Just imagine it coming down like this and across. You have some of the armpit here, which you have fine. Triceps are over here, elbow. Brachials in the middle there, then the bicep. This is a little bit wrong. It shouldn't come down this far, and the shape should be more like this. So let's do the collarbone first, though. We're going to kind of come boom like that, and that's going to be the collarbone. Like that doesn't come past far, just right there. You have that about right, I think. No, yeah, it's about right. But the chest muscle also is about right, but it's going to come more like to about here, like this, and then it's going to start curving in like this. Boom, like that. It doesn't go really past this line here because of male pectoralis. Right? The female has fat tissue that's attached onto her pec muscle, right? So it comes down like this, right? That's how you have a female breast. All that fatty tissue. The male doesn't have that, so you just have the pectoralis here. And it's going to be kind of, from a side view, it's going to be kind of shaped like this. Oops, I messed that up. I still want to show that little bit of notch there. So it's a small notch, but I want to show it. Right, and then we're going to kind of come up and over here to the deltoids, and then we're going to kind of come right here. We want our... Actually, I should come out a little bit farther. Hold on a second. Like this. Let's come out here like you did, a little bit farther, but start coming in more like this. And then come almost straight like a line like that. Boom. Kind of keep it more angled. You actually might be able to come down a little bit further past that. Kind of like it actually. Almost how you did it, but just change the shape a little bit. Come down almost to that, and then start cutting in like this. Yeah, that. And then kind of come straight across more like this. And then we can kind of come up and then to an angle like that. So that's more of the shape we're going to have there. We're going to have the rib cage here. Part of the rib cage you can see like that. Remember, we're going to come all the way down. Let's come back further because men have bigger lats anyway. And come all the way down to this line almost here. Remember that. This space between here and here should be pretty short from the side view. So bring your rib cage, both of them, you need to bring the rib cage down farther. And we're going to kind of curve here. The man usually doesn't have as big of buttocks, so we're going to kind of just come out and then kind of come more at an angle like this here. Just keeping it more angled. So all that's pretty close. I'm not sure what the red was, so I'm just, going with where I kind of want this. And then I also, even from a male, I'm going to come out with the leg here a little bit more though. A little bit buffer here like this. And we'll come down to there. We still have the same kind of thing here going on, but it's going to be like this. We're going to see that part. And then the male muscle is bigger, so we're going to come out like that. Like you have it here, that's good. And remember, the knee starts here, so we want to make sure we see this knee, that's the knee. Make this more bulky here since it's a man. You make the foot a little bit bulkier as well. I want to kind of see the other side of the foot there a little bit. And then remember, from the crotch, we're coming up. We can see part of his lower abdominal muscles here. Then coming up like this. And I like to come like in like this a little bit and come down like that. And then kind of show, you kind of see some of the abs there like that. So there you go. So you're pretty close. One thing I need to check here, because it feels like their legs are really long. I just want to see if you've measured this right. Okay, that's why. So you see that your halfway point isn't actually a halfway point. Let's check on this side here. Yeah, so see that? Your halfway point isn't quite halfway point. And so that's why all this looks shorter. So by doing it this way, everything becomes more stylized. You have these kind of longer legs, kind of like an anime figure. To fix that, though, you would want to have the halfway point be the same, like this. Get used to drawing it normal first, and then you can start stylizing. So come down to like there. So that should have been, this right here should have been where the bottom of my leg went. And then therefore I needed to take the halfway point from that point, which is going to be, a little different than where you have it. Because if you look here now, this is no longer the halfway point. As you can see, it's going too far down. So the halfway point is going to be more like here. Let's see if I nailed that right. Yeah. And so now you're going to have this top part be your leg here like that, and come down. Then your knee is going to be more like around here, like this. And then the calf would kind of come. Anyway, an easy way to do this, because I already drew it all, is just to go like this. And then free transform, we're just going to kind of shorten it like that to where it would be about where it needs to be. Right, so that'd be more how it's supposed to be. I can kind of erase some of this now. And that would be more if you wanted a regular kind of human that's not stylized. Regular height human. Same with her here. We can take her legs, just grab the legs, and we're just going to shorten them to where it's more like that. Now you have regular normal humans that are probably about, this looks more like a, little under 6 feet tall, like a regular human, anywhere from 5'7" to 5'10" or so. Once you start getting to like 6'3" and stuff, that's where you get more of these kind of proportions. I kind of drew it where it was more like a, an A-headed tall person, but that's usually around 6'3" or so that you get those kind of proportions in a real person. Anyway, so that's just some of the little corrections you can make, and it makes a pretty big difference. So as you can see here, really just making, even if all you do is correct the heads, that would make a pretty big difference. But, some of these other differences are going to help as well. Just make sure when you're doing the A-headed tall figure, for now, do make sure that all these are the same exact length. So make sure if you have the head here, that each one of those is following that. And then here's where you went wrong right here. See how that one's not the same? This one's right, and that one's not right. So these two squares are wrong for some reason. So yeah, just make that correction, and then you're good to go. I think if you would have started with the proper things, all this would, you would have done the legs right. You would have worked out. You just didn't do the measurements right. So if you would have done these measurements right, this whole bottom part would have been right. Or maybe you purposely made them longer because you wanted to make it stylized. But for now, I recommend to stick with the normal body proportions, and then you can exaggerate after you get that down. Do make sure your heads are bigger from the side view. All right, cool. So, hey, if you would like to have some commentary on your artwork, then go ahead and join my course. It's on sale often at Udemy. And if you don't see it on sale, go ahead and send me a message here. Leave a comment below in the YouTube video just saying, hey, I would love to get a discounted copy of your Anatomy 2.0 course or my Anatomy 1 course. Depends what course you like. Check them both out. See which one you think works better for you. One is done in real time, so it's a lot longer, like 60 hours. The other one is more condensed. All the same information is there, but it's presented in a much faster way. And so it's not all in real time. And that course is going to only be like 15 hours or something like that. But you get all the same information, and actually even more information and newer information that's not in the other one. And you get a lot of my newer information stuff and how I like to do things now. One thing I do want to talk about here briefly is when you're doing the figure like this, one thing I like to think about is this right here. So let's go and make another layer. I like to think about this curve that happens right here. So think about, why is my, okay, that's why. There we go. So I like to think about this curve that happens, and it's going to be like this. So imagine you have your rib cage here. I like to think about this curve line coming like this, and then coming back like this here. So just kind of really pull that curve like this big C curve right here, boom, like this. And then a parallel one, imagine there's another parallel one right next to it like this, and it kind of comes like this. Right, so I like to imagine this kind of curve right here. And within that curve, I'm going to add these two pieces. I'm going to have a piece that kind of looks like this here, like this here, and I want to come almost to this line, about like that. So it's kind of like an oval like this. And that kind of represents that bottom part. And then you have another one that's going to be like this here. And that's going to come up here like this. It's going to be kind of shaped like that. Right, so these kind of two shapes. This one is longer than this one. Right, that's the kind of way I imagine it. And then I'm going to kind of lightly erase this so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Then you can start to kind of, shape this into like there, and then have that come down. A little bit further like this. Kind of come up to the, right, so see I kind of start to imagine this, and I come up here. It's going to be the belly like that. In fact, I'm going to turn this off for a second so you can kind of see. Boom. And then I want to come right here and really kind of capture this back muscle, part of the latissimus dorsi there. And I want to really pull this in and kind of pull out here, really kind of curve this, that buttocks right there. We can kind of show the side view of that there, and then we're going to want our hip. I like to just draw it to a circle, and then that's where I usually add my knee in there and start to curve this back and down. I like to really exaggerate these curves at first, and then you can, go from there and then kind of curve up right here. Then you have your arm here. I like to exaggerate some of that, and then you can have the neck come off here and here. So just kind of imagine that tube and the circle like this. Kind of imagine. Right. And I made the head way too big. Everything else fell into line pretty well, but the head, that's too big. So we're going to redo that. I had a feeling it's too big. That's why I turned that on real quick. I'm like, I think I went way too big with that. I'm actually going to make this smaller too. Let's kind of stick it more here. So I kind of like put that circle in there. That's kind of where I'm going to attach everything to. And then you can have this right here. So I got to make our head come here, up here. That's going to be our circle right about there. And we're going to come straight down like this. That's the basic shape, and then the ear's going to come off there. This side. Right, so like that. Then the curve, the neck here is going to come back behind, and because remember, it comes and attaches that spine if you think about it like that. And that angle, that. But starting with those two shapes right there, this kind of curved shape right here, and then this kind of shape right here. And I really push this in here, come out, imagine that love handle right there, then it kind of comes in, forms the buttock. You can really exaggerate that if you want it to be a nice big butt. And then remember, the crotch to be somewhere around here because the crotch is higher than where the butt ends. So remember, from the front view, the crotch is here. From the back view, the butt is here. And so you'd come up with the crotch like that, have the belly kind of come up to the rib cage. You can have that kind of shape here. And then we can kind of come with our thigh muscle here. And the knees somewhere around there. So I really want to kind of exaggerate that curvature. This is really coming back quite far. Right, so it's just almost like she's bending back. So maybe she's like, her head would be more. That's huge. Let's go a little bit smaller. Give her a slightly different shape there. And then maybe her head is kind of tilted. It's a little bit too big. It's a pretty big arm. This is now really stretching her neck muscles. See that? Because they're stretching up. You have the hairline. Her hair be falling down because of gravity. Right, so you get the idea though. I really wanted to exaggerate that. She has a huge butt, but some women be like that. So, and you can draw your females however you want. They don't have to be realistic. If you want them to have the impossible butt, that's part of drawing. You can do that. If you want her to have more realistic butt, then you can do that too. So I'm gonna come out here a little bit further here for her latissimus dorsi there, kind of come into the rib and then kind of come into this curve here. She would obviously have a little bit of fat here, and then we can like roll that fat around. But first, you just want to get those shapes right. And then I'm going to make her butt not as big, come down like this here. Boom, like that. But starting with those two shapes really does help, sell the thing you're trying to do. And it's rare you're ever going to draw an actual side view. It's mostly going to be like a slightly 3/4 side view, And then, I don't know, maybe this leg is like coming down like this. And so she's like pushing off of it. Oops. Just trying to think what she might be doing like that. And then she couldn't balance herself unless she either threw this leg out this way, like that. And then she'd have to be either holding on to something here, like a pole or something right here to capture herself. She might, if she pulled this leg out like back this way. Sometimes I just draw that action line, and then you can add the kind of shapes to it. She might be able to catch herself like that, maybe. But there's a couple ideas. Anyway, so this is just drawing from imagination, But once you start to get the feeling of the figure, like you really start to take the anatomy course seriously, and start learning these different things, and also take the gesture course, it all starts making sense. And this knee probably should be a little bit higher now. I'm looking at it. I really want to really exaggerate that shape. I like this X shape right here. I usually kind of imagine this S curve like this. Kind of comes all the way through the body like that. Boom. Just kind of imagine that from the side view. All right, cool. So yeah. Again, leave a comment if you have any questions about drawing, and if you definitely want to get the Anatomy 2.0 course or any of my courses, just leave a comment below and say, hey, I don't see your course on sale right now. I would love for you to give me a link, and I'll I'll comment, I'll reply to you with the link. You just click that link and that will have the code built into it. So it'll automatically give you the discount and you'll see the discounted price anywhere from like $10 to $20, or excuse me, 10 to 12, maybe $14, depending on the course. All right, cool. Thanks for watching.